Protests like the ones here in Paris have been taking place across the country. There's a lot of young people here that we've been speaking to that are taking part, and they've told us that they're really angry about the inequality that's been happening in France, but they're also very angry at the French President Emmanuel Macron. We've seen a lot of signs and heard a lot of chants calling for the president to resign. These protests have been called the Block Everything protests. We've seen protesters clash with police, block roads and set fires here in the capital. 300 people were arrested just in the few hours of these protests starting across the country. And there's been a real sense of frustration here in France at the political situation, especially with the government's plans to cut $80 billion in spending to try to curb the country's growing debt. These protests have been happening on the day that France just got its 5th new Prime Minister in 2 years. But President Emmanuel Macron's decision to appoint another centrist Prime Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, and his closest ally has only fueled these protesters.
We're just not happy that the state's money is not going to our education, it's not going to our public services, it's not going to our health.
We feel like our voices aren't being heard.
Millions of people are struggling, and it's just unfair because we are one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and yet the people are getting poorer.
Nothing never changed. Actually, I'm quite tired of the situation.
And to give you a sense of the kind of people that are protesting here, there's a lot of young people, a lot of university students, mainly from the left side of politics. And these protests have been compared to the 2018 Yellow Vest movement. We saw a lot of people there initially protesting about fuel hikes, which then turned a bit violent and turned into anger over Emmanuel Macron's economic reform agenda. A lot of people here blame the French President Emmanuel Macron for all of this political turmoil. That's because last year he called a surprise snap election, which then eventuated into a hung parliament and meant that things in France just haven't been happening. The parliament hasn't been working, and it's been split and heavily divided and polarised. So a lot of people here have been calling for the French President Emmanuel Macron to resign, but he says he's not going anywhere.